Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with 60andMe. Welcome to a new day. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for joining us here. Now 60andMe is a community of women who are over 60. We have a lot of women younger too, but over 60, aging beautifully and really trying in their own way to create a sense of worth in this world and where you fit. And I know this is getting harder as you get older, and I've certainly experienced it myself. And I always say that our goal here at 60andMe is to help women live with passion and purpose. And the passion is one thing that we're probably not lacking, because the women I know in our community are trying their best. It may not be perfect, it may not be what we really want from our lives, but we're doing what we can. And I admire that so much. But with purpose, that's a little bit challenging because, when we give up our work, when we lose our jobs, when we are no longer perhaps a wife or a mother, those roles are no longer like woven into our lives. How do we define ourselves? Who are we? Now, Betty Withrow is one of our bloggers. I love Betty. She's been through so many challenges herself in the last years, and she wrote this article about recognizing your true worth is the secret to happiness. And it's not just over 60, it's at any age. And the premise of this whole conversation is that what you project to the world is what the world then reinforces back to you. That is how they see you. So how you see yourself is how the world sees you. And that changes everything. That shapes the trajectory of your path as you get older. So how you project yourself is really, really important. And so that starts with confidence. It starts with knowing that you've got something that is truly of value that you're going to give to the world. That you are worthy. Now, I know Brene Brown has written about this a lot, this whole concept of vulnerability and feeling shame and feeling that you're just not good enough. And I think that that's the key to some of this. And if you are, able to come, realize that what you can give to the world is a positive projection, that you can project yourself just doing your best in an honest and, sort of transparent way. Like you don't have to, you don't have to be perfect. And how do you recognize this true self? Well, you have to do a little bit of soul searching. And sometimes that takes you to dark places because the mistakes that you've made in your life, whether they were mistakes by your own judgment or by someone else's judgment, maybe they weren't even mistakes. Maybe you just did things that you knew were right at the time. And I must admit, I go through this a lot in my life because the way that I had to raise my children was not, the same that I would probably do it now. For example, I had to work while my children went to childminders, because I had to earn money to survive. But when I, now look back and I say, well, wouldn't it have been great if I hadn't, whatever. You can just fill in the blanks. And making mistakes, though, is actually, and Betty talks about this, is the best part of you. It's because it tells you that you've learned something about yourself and about the woman that you have turned out to be. And the world needs that unique story. They may not listen, or younger people, for example, are on their own journey. They may not understand it either, but you've got a story to tell and it's unique. And that authenticity and that uniqueness is what makes you you. And there's something to be ashamed about, or to be, to feel guilty about, or to feel bad about. You just get out there and you just be honest. Now, not everybody wants to hear the whole story, so you kind of have to net it out sometimes and put the things that you may have considered mistakes or the regrets that you might have in place, put them in some kind of place, and learn to incorporate them into your life, make them part of the beautiful woman that you are. I mean, for example, with my situation, I look back and I look at my children now and I think they turned out just great. I mean, they're beautiful human beings. And we didn't have everything that I maybe wanted them to have as they were younger, but we made it through. We got through. And we moved, and I've now moved on from that, or most of the time. Because sometimes too, I go back. It's a really lovely sunny day today. It's really warm, so I need my fan. But anyway, the most important thing here is to don't run away from the hard questions. Don't run away from the conversations that take you maybe to those places with your children, with your friends, with your family, people that, are important. And also when you go out into the world, you don't have to tell everybody everything about your life and what you've accomplished and what you didn't do or did do. But it's really useful sometimes to contribute. I know I went on a cruise once. It was with a group of young people. It was a nomad cruise. It was cool. It was really, really cool. We went, I think I was the oldest person. I was 70 at the time. And it was just wonderful to hear them come to you and ask you to tell your story, because they genuinely saw that you had something to share, something unique to share. And it doesn't really matter, as I mentioned earlier, about your age. I mean, everybody has got something that they can teach younger people and older people, just by accepting that it's better to go deep and expose what is what is part of you to the world and be authentic than to try to hide that, because it always makes it feel, I don't know, just not real. It makes you feel artificial, like as if you're not telling the whole story, telling the whole truth. And I think that the more vulnerable you can allow yourself to be sometimes, and the more you can allow people to see inside that part of you, the more that projection becomes interesting, unique, and beautiful. And I think the most important thing that Betty talks about, or one of them, is that, give yourself credit. I mean, pat yourself on the back for some of the things that you accomplished. Yes, you may have bumped along and somebody may have been hurt in that process, or you may have been hurt, but it doesn't matter. You did your best, and now give yourself some credit for what you accomplished. And especially, I don't know when you're watching this video, but during this pandemic, we actually have to learn to see things that took away our freedom or took away the ability to do some of these things as a gift. And I know that some people have made this comment in our private conversations here on 60andMe, that they actually have found this whole pandemic has been a contributor to their happiness. Sounds a bit ironic, doesn't it? Because, and for you, of course, I don't minimize at all the incredible loss that people have had during this time, and there's anything anyone or I can say to make that better. It's been awful. But in some ways, it's made us realize who's important to us, what is important to us, where we are being important. All these questions that we may have grappled with, we learned, and it's come to us for a reason. It came to us for a reason, and we are now owning it, and we're taking it forward. And I think that another thing she talks about is change, and about how, we've allowed ourselves during this pandemic time to change. We've changed our behavior. We've changed the way that we value, people and things in our lives. A mask now is a friend. I remember when I first had to wear a mask. I mean, do you remember that day? I was so embarrassed. I thought everybody was looking at me. Well, who cared? Now I know that not only is it good for me to wear a mask, but it helps other people. And it's just extended the reach of my worth. My worth is now not like what I deliver or what I do or how much money I make or any of those crazy things that we thought were important. It's really what I give back to the world. And that extends to the people and to the planet in general, and to the priorities. So the word from Betty Withrow, who has she endured the fire in California. She's done all kinds of, this is years ago, of course, but she's done all kinds of things. And she says, embrace your strengths in the middle of all that you think are weaknesses or flaws or broken bits of yourself. Embrace the strengths, embrace the things that you've done really, really well, that you have contributed to the world. And then the energy will come back. It'll come back to you in unexpected ways. And it'll come back in ways that you never thought you could rebuild, in ways you never thought you could regrow or recreate. Love that word, renew. Just, being your beautiful self. So I'd love to know what kind of challenges have you had in your life, and in terms of your worth. Are you feeling worthy now? Are you feeling that you're adding value to the world? Are you happy? What's on your mind? 60andMe is here for you. And I always say this because I really do want to reach out and help you to, get through this time. Because I think as older women, we have, everyone else is facing the COVID challenges, for example. But I think as older women, we've got some special, unique challenges with our appearance, with our capabilities, maybe health, all kinds of things that are coming at us. But recognizing that you are worth something, that you have value. And go out into the world projecting that confidence, projecting those strengths, those abilities, and then the world will give it back to you. They'll see it, and then you'll be treated as that person. They won't treat you based on the stereotypes or on all the things that they've assumed. They will treat you for who you are, your beautiful self. So, hope you have a great day, everybody. Tell us about your feelings of worthiness or purpose, and let's see if we can help each other here. But again, appreciate your support. Please subscribe to our channel. It helps us to reach other women, and that's the main goal for this whole thing. But please take good care of yourselves. Stay healthy and strong, and we'll talk again really soon. Bye-bye for now.